This is such a standout film. Laura, we know you've got some skills in the music biz and some history there. Is that what drew you to be a part of this one?
Yes, I think one, I love that it was based on an off-Broadway play, and I'm like dying to do theater. So that was definitely a big part for me. I loved Ryan's journey and really resonated with it. And I was so excited to work with David. Can we also David, your rap skills are unparalleled, which I was not expecting at all. So that was really fun to collaborate from that end and work on the music together.
David, I find Danny so fascinating. I mean, how did they break him down to you originally? Just sort of a talented songwriter who hasn't had much luck in the business?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That was sort of the first conversations, and also just it was apparent, obviously, just reading the script, and I was really intrigued from the get-go, to be honest, with this one. But the conversations were, yeah, really about how Danny is a mix of things, and you see that in a few different ways in the story. Um, he's always kind of trying to balance things out, and then there's a bit of, even through his music and the way he kind of produces and creates things, there's a bit of like an old meets new thing that I have sort of in my life. So that was an interesting parallel for me. But yeah, I mean, and obviously the music, just in general was a really, um, you know, intriguing and interesting thing to be a part of. And Laura, working with Laura too, was really, really, I mean, amazing, and doing so much music with Laura, and yeah, it was awesome.
I found it interesting that Danny was less into the financial gain of working with Ryan and more into the collaborating gain of their relationship. What did Gregory sort of talk to you about that, David?
Well, I think that's a big part of sort of what Ryan and Danny encapsulate. It's they are both artists, and they find themselves at different points on their own journeys that cause them to look at themselves. And I think Danny has been he's sort of a loyalist and a purist when it comes to his sensibility, when it comes to his taste, and I think that also maybe it's made him a little blind, and maybe it's made him a little difficult. It's difficult for him to maybe see what he's actually doing, and so I think by him collaborating with Ryan, he learned a lot, and then obviously vice versa. And I think that's a big point that was made. So Gregory was always, we were all, and Adam Seidel, who wrote it, we were always being conscious, and just me in my own mind, being very conscious of what I represent, what Danny represents, which was this sort of raw love for what he is and what he does, but maybe doesn't necessarily know the best way to go about it, and things like money, those things suffer because he's so just, I'm just about what I make, and that'll carry me, but he doesn't think about these other things. So yeah.
The musical aspect to this is incredible as well. Did you all have much of an input when it came to the songwriting portion of things, or were these already crafted, beautiful tracks for you guys?
Well, I was a little obnoxious because when I got this opportunity for the film, they hadn't written the music yet. And I made it very clear that I was like, a big part of me being interested in this is I really, really would love to help craft Ryan's songs. Like that was really, really important to me. And Glenn and Eric, our music team, were so gracious about allowing me into their process. They had been working together forever. Like they're a dynamic duo on their end. So I'm sure it might have been like a little strange to have this girl come in being like, wait, I know we haven't met, but I would love to, say a lot of my opinions about the songwriting. And they were really, really kind and really, really, really gracious. And so it was a true collaboration with the three of us. And I felt very protective of Ryan. And I also felt like it was really fun to work on the music just because it was truly, I love songwriting. And so anytime I get to write, I feel very happy. But it was really an interesting acting exercise because I felt like I was coming into the part knowing a bit more about her because I got to write these songs from her point of view.
David, the two of you have such great on-screen chemistry. Was that sort of there innately when maybe did you even have to do a chemistry read? Because you guys seem so at ease with each other on screen.
Yeah, no chemistry read. We got on a Zoom pretty early on, and Laura always mentions a story. I'll mention this story this
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I want to hear
Laura.
your perspective. I want to
Um,
hear your perspective on it. Did
no,
you,
we got on a
did
Zoom.
you know anything about me beforehand, like before we got on that Zoom?
I mean, yeah, I knew of you, Laura, of course, and then like I know you and I know a lot of the same people and have worked with some of the same people too. So like it's kind of like I definitely knew of you, but um no, beyond that, I mean, it was like, yeah, kind of surface level. I'm someone who's very like, when I meet the person in
Yeah.
face to face, like it's like then I can actually like feel like I
Yeah.
really have met them. So like I was just kind of waiting for that to happen, but no, we got on a Zoom. Really early on, and Laura and I, we share the same birthday,
Which
November
is
29th.
crazy. Yes, which is crazy.
And so Laura was really, and valid, you rightfully so, like was really excited to share that with me, and I kind of just didn't. I gave her like a non-reaction, and
He's being
I
really diplomatic. I was like screaming. I wasn't
It's a
screaming.
boy thing to do, though, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you very much so. And I was like in the camera being like, David, we have the same birthday. Like, imagine
yeah,
the Zoom. And David's like, oh, great. Good to
and
meet
I
you.
didn't mean to
Well,
come off like that. I didn't. I do find that interesting. It's an interesting fact. It's cool. But yeah, so.
He
But
said,
no,
it's a
thank you
boy
so much.
reaction to
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
to a T. A boy reaction to a T.
yeah. But no, I mean, and so that was the initial Zoom. But once we got to New York to start the shoot, what was great was scheduling wise, we did the music first. So the first week there, we were recording the music at a studio there in Brooklyn, which was so awesome. And
Really
so we
awesome.
had Greg Jabara coming through, the director. We had Adam there, the writer. Laura and I were there. Eric Stoltz would come by too. Didn't have to record anything, would just hang out there. And so it was a great week to, we were still kind of activating the creative kind of mode and doing things for the movie, but we didn't have to worry about cameras yet. We weren't worried about sort of the making of it. So it was a great way to meet and start feeling it set the tone. It was what it was. It
Yeah.
was a really great way to set the tone. So I think by the time we were shooting, yeah, Laura and I we had a great amount of time to get to know each other, and then also even with the schedule during the shoot, it was sort of my stuff and then her stuff, and then just the way it's written, so you're kind of bouncing around. So there were periods where we were kind of doing our own thing, which I think worked, given
Yeah.
what the movie was about. So I actually thought the schedule was like perfect for what we were trying to do.
100% agree.
Laura, you got to work probably the most with iconic actor Eric Stoltz. Did you spend much time picking his brain about so many things of his life, from directing to acting? I would have been like, all right, I know we're filming, but I have like a list of questions I have to get through.
Oh, 100%. And what's so beautiful about Eric is his dedication to the art through and through. And like, meaning we would rehearse a bunch, like we met outside of work, which Dave and I did similarly as well, but like we would go to this restaurant like every week, which I think not only helped us kind of build a rapport, but also it was just really special getting to collaborate with him and just getting to like, you know, find these beats and make magic. And, you know, he is such a dynamic and talented individual. And we would talk about, when we were rehearsing, we would talk about experiences we both had had. And of course, I always was like, wait, tell me more. You have way cooler experiences. And he's an amazing storyteller. I loved hearing how he got into directing. I loved hearing just like everything about him and getting to work with him. I was just texting him this morning because we saw the screening and I was like, I really, yeah, he made me a better actor when we were like going over these scenes. And I feel the same thing about David as well, where I think whenever you're doing a scene with someone, you're sometimes just really only as good as your scene partner. And I feel very lucky that, both my scene partners are immensely, immensely talented and really gave me a lot to work with and gave me also time and energy outside of being on set to rehearse because I am a rehearsal girl. I love, love, love to rehearse. And David and Eric were very similar that they both did. Because you only had one scene with Eric, right? David, am I? No, we had two. We had two because you had one with me and then one with Ari as well.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I loved, I mean, I kind of second everything Laura said about Eric. And yeah, low-key a little envious that you get to work with him more, Laura. Yeah, I got the two scenes with him. But Eric was always around. He really was around a lot. So, but a great, great force to like have on set. And I love working with people who have such a seasoned career like Eric does, because it's just they some of the best things that you'll learn from people like that is just watching them work
Hmm.
and just that they just exist and they're an example, and so just being on set with someone like that, it was amazing. He's awesome, so awesome, and a legend, actually, a legend.
Great.
So
David, some of my moments from this film were maybe smaller in mine, but had a lot of impact on the relationship the two of you have on screen. Is there a particular scene you found maybe as a favorite of yours to shoot, or looking back, watching, you're like, wow, coming it to seeing it come to life is just incredible.
yeah, this movie overall is a really special one for me. I loved everyone who was involved. I loved where we got to shoot it. I love that there's original music. So like this really is like for an actor, I think anyone would agree it's like just a dream kind of thing to be a part of. Um, but if I had, I think a lot. Honestly, a lot of the scenes. I mean, I'm happy with the whole thing. I have to say that first. But I really thought the rehearsal space scenes with Laura and I, given again kind of the schedule in which we shot that in, and all of the stuff we had to cover in that room, just for the story, all the different beats of our relationship that took place basically in that location. I'm really happy with that. I think that that space really served its purpose. There was a lot of struggle with that location. We at one point I think we were going to move that to a different place, and so it was kind of it was one of those classic things with shooting where I don't know if they knew where that space was going to be, and I think ultimately what we have it serves its purpose, and I really enjoyed how all of the stuff in there came out. So yeah.
And I love the performance piece we did as well, which was funny because that was the first scene I think we filmed was the performance in the club. Um,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
getting like that whole club sequence, I think, we did the talking at the bar and then, whatever. And so I think that was um I really enjoyed it. And that was also fun because yeah, we had to like approach that scene as if we had done all these beats, right? When you're filming, you kind of have to like
Sure.
rearrange the schedule in your head of shooting schedule versus like the actual chronological schedule of the script. So that was really fun because we, s- kind of started off with a bang in terms of like, oh, okay, we're going with like kind of this really important scene that's
Yeah.
right smack dab in the middle of our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were coming off the heels of recording too, so
Totally.
we had
Yeah.
just we'd been singing for like a week, and then we went straight into that big number, yeah. That was, the Hugo's bar stuff is definitely a standout too,
Oh,
And
for sure.
David just like knocking out the piano,
Yeah.
rocking it. He was amazing.
both of you are super talented musicians too. You have to give yourself a little props for that.
Thank
I
you.
am so not a guitar player. So that was definitely something I was nervous about because I'm like, oh, I have to look like I play guitar and like play it occasionally, which I am not a guitar player. So I was very proud of my ability to do it because it was so hard for me. I don't know why. I'm a piano player through and through.
I forgot honestly, Laura, that you felt that way that you until you just said it right now. Because I mean, and I just watched it last night, and you're so natural on the guitar. Like it totally,
Oh,
yeah, you, yeah,
but stop it. That means that to you a lot because I, yeah, I watch it and I'm like, oh my God, I haven't touched a guitar, I think, for a long time.
yeah,
After the movie, I was like, oh, I'm learning guitar now. We're doing it. Like, I'm so into it. And it's just so painful for my fingers. But I'm gonna,
yes,
I am going to do it. It is going to happen. I feel it.
yeah.
Well, both of you are so good in this. Thank you both so much for all of
Thank
your
you,
time. I
Jane.
cannot wait for more people to get to watch Original Sound. I think it's going to be so special for them.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Aw.